Alright, welcome everybody. I am Beck Lyons, and I actually missed episode 47 of the Celsius Pod because I was at homecoming. So I decided I would upload my reaction to the one episode of the Celsius podcast I have not been on. Right now, this is tracking at 1 hour and 43 minutes. So let's just get started.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Celsius podcast.
I'm the one that usually does that.
Yes.
As you can see, all of us are here.
Oh, yeah, no, I actually was there.
You can
Yeah.
count. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just really sad during this one episode.
So,
But-
Uri, what's the temperature like in New York there?
Let's check.
Okay. In California it's 79.
I see he
degrees, so
has
pretty
actually
hot.
no movie on. I mean, typically, people watch the Celsius podcast
72.
for the pirated movies.
Oh, it's hot there too.
It's
Global
been
warming
hot.
turns out is real.
It's real and it's coming
It's
back
real.
better than ever.
Wow.
It never left, but
It never left. It's always been here.
I see we have
The world is
Uri
slowly
doing
dying, and we just
the
get to
normal
watch.
conspiracy
and
theories.
so let's distract ourselves with talking about movies and TV.
Oh.
The best.
Uri,
That-
have you
that
watched
is the
some movies and
Celsius
TV? 'Cause
podcast,
I've
that's what we
watched some
do.
movies and TV.
I have heard you watch movie and TV, but first I want to give a little. It's not much of a story, but
Not much of a story.
I'm in a class here,
Mhm.
and it's about fandom and fantasy.
Oh
and,
my god,
and like we're
Uri,
learning about like
class
how
story?
people consume media, and that it's like
I
an idea
consume
called
media.
reconsumption. And there's this thing called relational reconsumption, she says, which is like when you like show it to friends or family the media that you
I
want
do
to
this
watch,
a ton.
so you can share
Yeah.
with them. And she said, to quote, it's like showing your friends the Owl House. And then in my
No
mind-
way.
No, real way. And here's
No way.
real way. And here's something to break down the hammer. So one of the students asked her if she could present like a presentation to the class, because we did a thing for an entire week where we presented like PowerPoint
That's
topics on
so
any
funny.
topic on. And
Yeah.
so she did a PowerPoint topic on like, because I guess she stars in like student films, and so she wanted to
Okay.
like do like a battle between all the characters she made in the films. And like she said,
That's
mom-
actually a
like, she
fire
played, like,
idea.
a mom, like
I'd love
a
to see
CIA
like
handler.
Solvey
But she said
Crimes
the
fights the
character I
guy
really
from
wanted to
Boss
play-
Fight.
And then she switches to a picture of Ida the Owl Lady.
That's crazy.
And I was trying to get my phone out to take a picture, but it was too fast.
Oh,
You should tell your
yeah.
teacher that that you know the number one fan of the Owl House.
I do know the number one fan of the Owl House.
Yeah.
So Beck,
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, you
He's
missed
not
out.
listening.
I'm listening to
I
it
don't
now.
know if any of us. Do you listen to these podcasts?
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
listening
you
right
edit
now.
them.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
listen
hi.
to them. So
I listen to them. Not
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of them, but some of them.
that's just a little anecdote. So Beck, Owl
That's pretty fun.
House.
Yeah, that's me.
But let's get into what I've been watching.
Do you want to alternate?
Yeah, because I watched a few things.
I watched. Here, I can show you my list of 8 things.
He stole my
Ah.
thing.
Actually, it's not 8 things.
He stole my
1, 2,
thing.
3, 4,
I'm the one that makes
5,
the list on
6,
paper.
7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 things actually.
Okay, that's actually a lot.
Well,
of
that
things.
sounds exciting, and
I'm gonna be carrying the episode because I don't think Beck and Nicola have much to talk about.
yeah.
I had
Nicola,
so
do you
much to
mind
fucking
saying
talk
something?
about. But I'm like, hey, maybe we should delay it. No, they're like,
hold on.
no, we're just gonna
Oh.
do it without you. I'm like, bro, I have so much to talk about. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's what he has to say.
Oh, and we last week's episode, which came out recently. So last week's episode, the thumb thing, you were not having a stroke, Aiden. So I figured it out.
Oh, thank God.
Whenever
was
I
it?
did like a thumbs up, I feel like sometimes like cause I did a habit, I'd put like a thumbs up and like it literally
Yeah.
showed it on the screen. So I know
Oh,
why
we
it's
actually
not happening
put it
now,
in.
but it happened when I put my thumbs up, like a thumbs up emoji came out. But I don't
That's
know why it's
crazy.
not doing it now. But maybe it'll come.
Like
in.
it just registered like you did a thumbs up, so here's a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Weird
But
as hell. At least I don't know how I
Does
was
not
the
work
only
for
one
me.
that noticed it, but
it
I'm
was
glad
like
that
a quick flash, I guess.
Yeah, it was pretty quick, but I'm
Bro,
glad
what
that
causes your computer to do
I'm glad
that?
I'm not going insane.
But no, yeah. Start off. Let's. What?
Do you want to start? Want me to start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. So I'm gonna start with the thing that is probably least interesting, I suppose.
Is it his balloon
New
blew up?
season of Bob's Burgers came out, and I watched the episode.
I haven't seen it,
That's
but
the
I
show
will.
with the
I
burger
will.
restaurant.
I will. I will.
It's like a it's like one of the episodes where they tell a story, and they're the characters in the story.
And then
it's
there's like 3 stories.
Oh.
Like
no, it's just the one story. They're all like contributing to the story or whatever.
What's the story?
Well, it's about so basically the episode is about Louise doesn't want to do chores, but Linda wants her to do chores, right?
I know
So they're
none of
like
these
striking
character
against
names.
doing chores, and it's like they do like a little western thing where Bob and Linda are the sheriffs, and the kids are like saloon owners, and
Yeah.
like the most of the middle stuff. I mean, it's funny. The animation was pretty good in this episode, although it's the first of the season, so
Yeah.
I guess they kind of want to go all out for it. But at the end of the episode, Linda kind of gets fed up with Louise and runs off crying, and they have a good like reconciliation at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Bob's Burger is definitely my favorite. I think like the freshest out of the 3 Fox Family sitcoms. There is a new
Being
one,
like Family Guy and
Simpsons, but there is a new
yeah.
one called Crepopolis made by Dan Harmon. That's
I saw some ads for it. It doesn't look that good. It
I
looks
have
pretty
not
generic.
necessarily heard of that.
but- No, Bob's Burgers definitely has that wholesomeness. I think that doesn't come from Family Guy and The Simpsons, because
I think. I mean, they haven't run for like that long, right?
yeah, like I mean,
But like,
yeah,
but even like in the amount of time that The Simpsons had run and Family Guy had run, like as long as Bob's Burgers, like Bob Burgers still does like emotional moments and things.
yeah,
Like pretty
That's good
frequently.
for
They're still pretty
sitcoms.
good
You need to
at
have
doing
those like
that, as opposed
emotional
to
moments that actually connect you to the character.
Yeah.
Simpsons and Family Guy, which have them like kind of scattered about.
I could because I don't hear like people. Oh, I still really watch The Simpsons now. I mean, I do that, but I can hear
Uri
people
would be
saying
the
like,
guy
you
to
know,
watch The
I
Simpsons. He's
still
in
watch Bob's
yellow.
Burgers, you know,
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than watching Family Guy and The Simpsons. Like, I mean, no, we watch this fucking Family Guy unless it's a clip on Instagram
No,
or
that's
something.
me.
I
Yeah.
watch Family Guy through YouTube.
but yeah.
Shorts.
I mean, I think they're just because the characters are nice to each other. Well,
Yeah.
they're like as nice as like a family can be, right?
Yeah.
Like they actually are enjoyable to watch rather than like there goes Homer getting drunk and strangling his son again.
There goes
Or there
Peter and
goes-
Lois making fun of Meg for the millionth time.
Committing genocide for the 8th time this episode.
Yeah, but
yeah, I don't watch a lot
no,
of
I
those Fox
definitely-
sitcoms. There's a lot
because
more
like Bob's
Uri's
Burgers is
thing.
just kind of like, you know, it's like a fun season. There's nothing really big with Bob's Burgers or any of these shows really, but
No,
they're
it's,
always
it's really it's really grounded. Like they'll
Yeah.
have some outlandish episodes, like
Yeah.
the
Or
mo-
like
the Women
ground
Dangerous
beef, am I
situations,
right?
Like, the movie or
yeah.
like the what is it called? The 2-parter in season 5.
My personal favorite episode of Bob's Burgers is the one where they're at like the mansion, they're having like a water balloon fight.
I have not seen that
episode.
one.
That's a good episode.
Mm.
I think that one, Turkey in the Can, is also a really good episode.
Episode. Oh, the other. I like the Thanksgiving episodes. Those are good.
I mean, yeah, because they lean into Bob a lot.
Yeah, because
Any
it's a
episode that
food.
we-
It's a food show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's why I said
But-
the ground beef.
So you're
joke
starting a
earlier,
new
'cause
season off.
That's what
so
they used to make the
that's exciting.
burgers.
So we're gonna see that. It's really interesting how, you know, we're seeing kind of like the last remnants, I feel like, of the 20 episode seasons. Because like, you know, even like I think regular animated sitcoms, I don't know if they don't really do that now. We're seeing this is the last kind of
No, they-
remnants of this
Yeah,
thing.
they're usually
Yeah,
like
I used to
10
have like
now,
a
right?
ton
Yeah.
that would go
They-
on like 20
before
seasons.
they either get 2 more seasons, get canned, or go forever.
Yeah,
But I mean, yeah, you have,
even
like,
like regular
fucking One
sitcoms,
Piece was, like,
on
1,000
ABC or
episodes.
Fox. I've been seeing have been short down to 10 episodes. So
Yeah.
these like these kind of like shows are going to be like really being shortened down because I think like I don't assume Crepopolis is going to be 20 seasons. I think it's going to be like
Oh,
10.
there's no way. I think it's gonna be like 10 episodes, one
That
season.
new, like,
never picked up again,
Was
barely
it
watched.
Yeah.
the guy that did the
So
Simpsons?
I feel like this is
yeah,
the last
that
remnant.
Disenchanted
These,
show on
like
Netflix.
Bob's
That only
Burgers.
went 5 seasons.
Yeah.
when like all
Simpsons
the other
Family Guy.
ones like
Do you ever hear
Futurama
about
and
the Great
Simpsons
North or
went
watch
on a
that?
lot
I
longer.
I watched
yeah,
like
I
the
watched
first season.
I watched the first season, or at least some of it, and I
Oh, I
thought it was
didn't like the
entertaining.
show where they're
Should
like in
I need to go back to
Alaska
it,
and they
and then I
got
also need to
Ron
watch
Swanson from
the
Parks and
Central Park
Rec.
show.
Yeah, I would say I think I watched like a few episodes of Central Park. I think Grey North is more interesting than that. But even after season one, I was like, I don't really feel that compelled to watch it, you know.
I
But
mean, I thought it was entertaining
it was
from what
good, but
I do remember.
there's
I
no
mean, I want to
yeah.
watch. Central Park is pretty music oriented, right?
Yeah, and the
Okay.
music part's never been my favorite part of Bob's Burgers. And
Okay, I'm a pretty big fan of the music stuff, so
yeah,
Mm.
so I
that's
guess
that's
yeah,
like one reason I want to check out
Aiden
Central
likes a
Park.
lot
But
of songs and
yeah.
music,
But
or
okay, I guess
shows
I'll
and
do my
movies with
turn now.
music.
your turn.
So
After
I
that
haven't been
long
watching
public-
much this week. What I have been doing so far, I've
Mhm.
rewatched 2 seasons of television, and they're both so technically 16 episodes in all, but they're both
Yeah.
8 episodes, hour-long episodes. And while I'm doing homework, so I'll just say this one first. So there's this TV show called True Detective. I've mentioned it before.
Bro,
So True
this
Detective
guy
essentially
only
it's a
watches
really gritty
detective
drama,
true
you know?
crimes. It's
Each
crazy.
season's like a new detective story that they're trying to figure out. And the first season was universally acclaimed by critics, and everybody
All
really
critics.
liked it. Really liked it. But unfortunately, season 2 dropped the ball so hard that they kind of canceled the show.
That's fucking
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
But they only brought it back in like, so it was like the seasons were I think in like 2013 and 2014, canceled it, but then they came back for like a third season in 2017,
Interesting.
and now
Mm.
they're coming off with a True Detective Night County thing that's coming in January. So I was thinking,
Okay.
I'll watch like one of the best seasons of television I think I've ever seen. So
That's crazy.
you know Matthew
This
McConaughey?
is the guy who did
Yeah.
an entire
So he and Woody
podcast series
Harrelson
about
were like
Barry
friends
in
in real life.
Succession, and
They
he's
played
saying True
detectives.
Detective
and,
is the
like,
best season of television.
Matthew McConaughey's character, he's like a really deep thinker. He's kind of like anti-human in a way, and he's like,
Yeah.
time is a flat circle. And so essentially the story is kind of told in 2 parts. We again see like the 1995 story where they're trying to figure out a girl who was killed at they found like a girl who's been like tied up to being like a ritual kind of killing, like occult kind of way.
Hmm.
And then we get cut to forward time where they like 12 years later are being interviewed by these new cops, and they're like telling their own story. And so that's like in the
Oh, it's
future
like a
and the
cold
past. And we're
case.
seeing how they
Seems like a cool
figure
concept.
out the case, caught the killer, they thought, and then how they broke up. And then that's what kind of that's the structure for the first 6 episodes. But in the
Yeah.
last 2 episodes all take place in the modern time, where they figure out who the real killer was of the 1995 case. And so
That
so
sounds awesome.
it
It does
was a
seem like a
very
cool
good season of
concept.
television from what I remember. I really liked it. Like it has a lot of provoking themes about like humanity and what it means to be human, and like the battle of light versus dark. It's very I guess
It seems weird to say it for like a
disassociative of
detective
reality,
show. I feel
but
like
it was very
detectives are very
interesting.
like imbued
Yeah, I
in
mean,
the
I think that
gray. It
concept
doesn't
of
seem
switching
very
between
like
the two times is
Yeah.
cool.
black and white.
What I think season 2 kind of lacked, it didn't have a time switch. It didn't have any of that thing.
Yeah,
But
you need
yeah,
kind of
so
like
that's
that
why in
cool
season
concept
3,
of hook people
they
on.
they did
And you
it
need to
again,
like
where in
know
season
that
3 they
like
had
once you get
3
someone
main
with a good hook,
timelines.
you don't need to follow
Oh.
the same premise
But
entirely and
I
have
would say season 3
like,
I
those,
was
like,
still not the
weird
best. I
plot
think
devices.
season 1 is still the iconic. 'Cause, you know, it's kind of interesting when the show goes so hard in season 1 just to kind of flatline in the other two. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, have you ever had like a show like that?
I mean, I've definitely had. I mean, one that comes to mind that's like the biggest example is like SpongeBob, right? Or
Yeah.
like any long-running TV
Yeah.
show that
Yeah.
like goes like Simpsons, Family Guy.
I mean, usually you have an
talked
arc
about
of
earlier,
like
those have the same
it's kind of
kind of
mid in the beginning, then it
started
gets
off
good,
really
but the
strong,
longer it goes, the
flatline,
more
go
it kind of
downhill a
like
little
Yeah.
bit.
starts to get
Um,
worse and worse.
Yeah, but that's kind
I
of like a gradual decrease. I would
Yeah.
say. I would say like
yeah, but rather
yeah,
like I'm
nothing.
trying to think of like one that has a drop off. I don't know.
Yeah, And so that, because like, yeah, I was rewatching that, and it's because like they have really interesting scenes. They have like, there's this one thing episode in season 4 where it's like a really long take of them, like of like there's like some like someone's robbing a house, and there's like a really long take of them following it out. And I always love the tracking shots. I think they're really cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's yeah, but I don't know, and so I'm not gonna watch season 2 because that wasn't as good. And what's cool is this is an anthology show, so I don't have to watch every season,
Oh,
right?
awesome. Okay, cool.
Because yeah, so it's anthology. So that story is a
Yeah,
recap with
anthologies
all
are
in
always
perfect in
hard because
season
then when
1.
you go to second
There's a
season, you
new
have to
season
introduce
story
so
in
many
season 2,
new
and a story in
characters
season
and
3,
get
and this
people to
new
actually
show,
care
True
about them.
Detective Night
So you need to
County
do a
Witches,
lot more
made by a
character
different guy
building
who
at
made
the
the original
beginning of the
show.
season to
Because
get people to
apparently,
actually care about it.
after the height success of season 1, he got in his head about it. And he got like kind of douchey about it.
Oh,
So,
bro, that's Euphoria.
so
Like
maybe that was the reason
exactly what
why.
happened.
But
Okay.
Like
Is
the guy made like
Matthew
one
McConaughey
good
and Woody
season, and then he
Harrelson
got
in
so over
all the
like
seasons?
so in his
Or
head
is it just
just the
the
about
first
first?
it
season.
being
It's
good,
a
and then
completely new
HBO
Okay.
gave him the
actors and
idol,
characters in new
and
season.
the season 2 wasn't as good.
But yeah,
But,
it was kind of in
yeah.
an era, the Matthew McConaughey, where because Matthew McConaughey is kind of known for doing rom coms in the 90s
Yeah.
and stuff. But now he had kind of like a career renaissance in like, I guess, mid 2010s, where it's like, you know, he did Interstellar, Dallas Buyers Club, this show. It's like where he did more gritty stuff.
Dallas Buyers Club. That sounds like an
But
HGTV
yeah,
House Hunters
so that was
ripoff.
the first show. But I'm gonna let your turn now.
Okay, I'll continue with the show.
He's
I only
gonna
watched a
have
single
like
episode
10
because only one
episodes. It's
episode came
great.
out.
Really?
10
I
things. It's
watched
gonna be crazy.
Loki.
I also
have
watched
not
an episode of
Loki, so you can tell me.
Oh, you haven't watched Loki at all?
I haven't watched Loki at all. I was going to, but I was
Okay.
like, you know, I'm gonna say this. After Secret Invasion, I'm really burned out on Marvel stuff. So I don't
Bro,
know.
I get-
like
okay, I
Loki's
get it,
like
but
the
Loki's
best
actually
Disney
good.
Plus show.
But from what I remember, Loki was pretty good.
Loki is actually good.
Well, it's just the
Um,
first episode, so you can tell me what happens.
It's true. Okay, so last we saw of Loki. Okay, I actually looked up the plot to Quantum Mania before I watched this.
Oh my
So,
god!
Wait,
and
I actually had
How
to
are they gonna
sit through
do this
that
with
movie.
the Jonathan Majors
It
arrest
was
situation?
crazy.
his iconography is still in the movie. It's still him, I think.
Okay.
But so last time technically we saw, so apparently Loki's in the end credits scene
Of-
for Quantumania
He is.
Right.
with Mobius.
How does season 1
Um,
end again? I don't remember.
He gets kicked through a portal by Sylvie, who then kills Kang, and he says, "See you soon." And that's the last time we see Sylvie. And then Loki's back in the TVA, and he runs to Mobius and the one girl, I don't remember her name. And he's like, "Guys, he's coming. He's coming." And he's like, and Owen Wilson's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "What the fuck, Owen Wilson? It's me."
It's me.
and-
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then he sees like the statue of Kang. So this episode starts off with him
Right.
being chased by TVA agents and Owen Wilson, and he's running and running. He's like running away, and then his body. The only way I hold on. Do I have like a piece of paper?
Yeah,
The
it's a
only
really
way
cool
I can
effect when you actually
describe
see it.
What happens to him? Here's a plastic bag. Like this is what
Okay.
happens.
A plastic bag is actually the great example. It's like he gets like fucking teared apart. It
Something
looks
like that.
So
really
he stretches or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
he stretches and goes all wiggly woggly, and it's kind of nasty and weird. Visual effect though. But then he like ends up in the past.
Oh, okay.
Or no, he was in the past before, and now he's in the present.
That's one of the really cool
Okay.
things that I liked about
After
this
being, like, chased,
series
and he
and shows.
sees
Like
some
you
other
think
character
he's
from
kind of
season
in
one
the
that I don't
future
remember.
or like an
And he's
alternate
like,
timeline when you see
"Help
the
me,
Kang statue.
do you remember me
But you
now?"
realize,
And he saw
no,
him in
he's
the
actually
past.
in the
He's like, "Do you remember me
past
now?"
when
And he sees
Kang
a crack on
originally
the
like
floor that
ruled
he
the
made in the
TVA.
past. He's like, "Was that
It
crack
was
always
really
there?"
cool.
And he figures out he's in the past, and he's like, "Okay, where's Mobius?" He's like, "Oh, he's over there," and then he disappears again back into the past.
Too much time shit. It's so much.
Yeah. So then it goes to
Yeah,
Mobius
it's kind of
and the one
the time
girl,
stuff's so
Okay.
hard to explain to
and
anyone
they go
that
to,
watches
like,
it.
somebody, and they're like, "Hey, we can't prune things anymore because if we prune things, that means the timeline gets erased, and that means we're killing millions of uncountless amounts of people every time we prune universes."
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
And
Is
so-
that not, so is that didn't they do that before though? So I'm why?
Yeah, but then they're realizing that it's just like killing everyone.
But I
Yeah.
feel like
So
they
now
should have
they're-
been like
so then they're like,
completely
we
hit with
probably
a
shouldn't be
wave of
doing that.
guilt of being like,
I guess
bro,
for
I've
that
killed
theoretical
hundreds
murder,
of
you know?
millions of
Yeah.
people.
But that part right there with the like Mobius and what's her face and like the talking to like the
Yeah.
higher ups is pretty boring. I'll say like
Okay.
that section of the episode. It's
I
like
thought it
5
was
minutes
shot
of
really
talking.
well.
It's kind of boring.
That scene, it really
Yeah.
gave a cool vibe.
Well, Loki's kind of just fucking off, jumping through time.
Okay.
And then he gets to the room that Mobius is in the past, and he sees that the wall that in the future has like a mural of the timekeepers has like Jonathan Major's face all over it, right? Has King's face all
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah.
And so then he comes back to the present, and everyone's like, "What the fuck, Loki? Where did you just come from?" And he's like, "Guys, we're fucked. Okay, we're so screwed. Like, we're so screwed."
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's some
Yeah,
like
they're fucked.
talking between Mobius and Loki, and they're like, "So what happened to you?" And he's like, "I don't know what happened, but I was in the past." And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then Loki's like, okay, or he's like doing the time jump. He's like, "We have to find Sylvie. We have to prepare for Kang." And Mobius is like, "Okay, but Loki first. I know how important that is, but you're like disappearing and reappearing.
They do be
We need
kind
to go
of
fix that
dying.
real quick." So then they go downstairs to like the mail room or some shit. And then what's the actor's name?
It's like,
the guy,
Oh,
the
the
guy
guy
in
from
Everywhere-
Everything Everywhere at Once? Yeah, I heard you say
Yeah,
that
the
guy,
guy that played
he's so
Data
good in that
or-
role.
Kukwei Kwan or something, I don't know.
Yeah, so his name is in the show it's Ouroboros, but they call him Obi, and it's like, and they go down and it's like, "I haven't been here in like 400 years." And the Obi is like, "Hey, Mobius, it's you," and he's like, "Hey, what
Obi.
Loki? This is because he
Yeah,
doesn't
that was
remember his
really
name.
funny.
Oh.
Because he hasn't been there in like 400 years, but Obi remembers him because Mobius was his last visitor in 400 years.
Ah. That makes sense.
And
That's
then
really funny.
they do a cool thing where it's like, okay, so what's happening with Loki is he's time slipping, but that's not possible in the TVA. And it's like, what do you mean that's not possible in the TVA? It's like, well, it's never happened before. And then Loki time slips into the past and talks with Obi in the past. Which is so
okay.
So it's what they have. So Mobius and Loki have like a similar dialogue exchange with Obi, where it's like, "So how do we stop it? You can't." And then it like switches to Loki. He's like, "What do you mean you can't?" And Obi's like, "Well, you just can't fix it unless you have this thing." And Mobius is like, "Do you have that thing?" He's like, "No, I don't have that thing." And it's back to Loki. He's like, "Oh, actually, I can make one right now." And then he makes it, and then he remembers in the future. He's like, "Oh, wait, I have one actually."
Yeah, that
So
was
like
a
Loki
cool scene.
talking to Obi
Very
like
creative.
directly affects
Wow. Oh,
the
okay.
conversation with Mobius, which was just like a really cool scene, I think.
No, that sounds cool conceptually, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great concept.
And so, wait, is that it or more? Yeah.
No. So they have a thing, and they're like, "Okay, so Loki, you need to go prune yourself," and then Mobius has to go stand outside on like a platform next to like the the universe web or whatever. Like he has to go stand out there.
The threads
and
and
he
like
has
the
like
loom.
whatever amount of time before he dies, and then if Loki prunes himself and it doesn't succeed, like they can both die
Okay.
from this procedure to get Loki back into the present
Right.
without time.
Right.
freezing,
That yeah. Okay.
So then just like stakes happen, and Loki, right as he's about to prune himself, time slips back to the past, and he doesn't have the like pruning stick anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then they're like, "Okay, well, fuck." And then Mobius goes outside. Loki's in the past where like they're doing the thing, and when they were in the present, Mobius wrote something like in the dust on something, and when Loki goes back, that thing is still written on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So then he's like, "Okay, so I'm
Really
in the
cool
future."
twist
okay.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's okay. This is a lot of time moving. So yeah, but I think I catch up now. Okay.
It's really cool. I think
Yeah.
like they do time well in the show.
Yeah, no, the way they did it, from what I remember, was really interesting because like it was like a different kind of way of like pruning things. It's like,
Yeah.
but do you know what like kind of like I don't know? Is there a way because there's like different types of time travel? Which way is this classified as? You know? Do we know?
Not really.
It
'cause
is
technically
like
the
8
TVA
different
doesn't
types of
have
them,
Time.
all
Right.
over.
Like time doesn't really pass.
It's
there.
weird.
Mm.
So it's like because when Loki's like, I went to the past, and Mobius is like, there is no past. It's the TVA that doesn't exist.
Right.
So it was just like a cool thing. But
Well, I mean,
Loki
it's
ends
just
up in the
yeah.
past. What?
Yeah, continue.
Loki ends up in the past. He's trying to find like a pruning stick or whatever, but it's not the past, it's the future because the thing was written on it.
Yeah.
And he's like walking around, he's trying to find something. Mobius has like 30 seconds before like he dies or whatever, or before like the shields close because
Yeah,
like
and
the
he's like in
whole
this cool
multiversal web is
spacesuit and all
unstable
that.
because of Kang being dead.
Okay. Yeah.
So Loki's in
Right.
the past. He hears a phone ringing. And he's like walking towards the phone, and there's this elevator door that
It's
opens, and Sylvie's in
Sylvie.
it.
Yeah.
It's Sylvie,
Yeah.
and he's like, and she's like, "Oh, there you are! I found you finally!" And then he gets pruned.
Twist to the cliffhanger
Twist.
for the end. Guess what?
I don't know,
He's
but
he's
the
probably gonna be
episode's not
okay.
over though.
Oh, he's
The
not.
episode's not over. No,
That was gonna be. That
Uh,
sounded like a good way to end
no,
it.
because they wanted him to get pruned. Remember?
Right.
And so then he comes back, and he's not time slipping anymore. Now he's back
Right.
in the whatever.
Is like the prune? Is it Prune Land or would like the place
No,
where?
no, he's no, because he got
Oh.
pulled out of the time stream by Mobius. That was the whole thing.
Oh,
They
okay.
had to pull him out of the time stream as he got pruned.
I mean, it sounds
And
interesting.
then they make it back, and then they're
Yeah.
all good. And then he's like, "Oh my, we gotta go find Sylvie now." And that was the end of the episode. But there was an end credit scene for the
Really,
episode.
for the first episode?
I didn't miss
It was-
this.
yeah,
I
so
mean, I
it takes
missed
place
this.
in like 1980.
It was like I
something,
keep forgetting to
in
watch for end
Oklahoma,
credit scenes.
and it's Sylvie, and she goes to a McDonald's, and she's like, "I want to try everything. I want to try all the McDonald's. I want to try all the stuff. I want to do everything," because now she's like kind of free and can do her own thing
Cool.
rather than
Nah,
having
cool
to run the
McDonald's.
TVA in her life.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
it was-
Yeah, I get it.
Well, yeah, but
But
overall,
McDonald's.
it was really interesting.
I mean, it does sound interesting. I'm not gonna say I probably will watch it so I can get on the
Yeah.
more on the same page. That was
I'm
a bit
telling
lost.
you
But
from
I'd
the
say,
future,
what does a Loki
does
season
watch
mean
it.
now?
It's crazy.
Because in the first season took place in like kind of like a rise of the MCU. We had WandaVision, Falcon and the Soldier, Loki. But now that it's been like 2 years and a bunch of like shit has passed, like so many different things. The Jonathan Majors arrest, the shitty Marvel movies, the bad like Secret Invasion. That's kind of like a reluctance.
Quantumania
What does
fucking
this season mean
sucked.
for the MCU? I don't. So it's kind of struggling.
Well, I think though, because Loki, I don't know, because Loki is super important to the plot of the MCU. I think.
Yeah. But
And they really tried with the first season. The first season was really good,
yeah.
and this season I think they're trying again. Like it's well written. All the shots are pretty okay. For some reason they do like shaky camera for like half of it, which is kind of weird. Like it's in like distressful situations, but like there's really shaky, and it really stood out. They're like handheld shaky camera. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the cinematography was pretty cool. The visual effects were pretty cool.
If I rewatch it, I think I might rewatch the first season so I could get more of a understand.
I just watched
Okay.
watched a 10-minute recap.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe I'll do that.
You definitely
But sometimes
don't
I
need
just,
to
like,
watch the whole
enjoy
season
the
for season
rewatch.
2.
That's
But
true. I get it.
no, but it's like I wonder how this kind of fits in this larger narrative of the MCU now in this multiversal area. That's what.
I don't know if it really does though,
What?
because the first season was entirely disconnected. What happened in season 1 had no ramifications on anything else.
Yeah, because that was a time where we were saying so many different multiversal things, like
Yeah,
Doctor Strange, the Spider-Man thing, now Loki.
Yeah.
It's like WandaVision.
Quantumania
Yeah,
exists
Quantumania.
too, yeah.
But it's like, yeah. And they really just don't
Wait,
know
wait.
what they are going to do and
Nicola
how heavy.
is
Because,
asking
like, Kang didn't appear in this
if we're
episode,
gonna
right?
do
No?
No.
Fortnite
I mean, he's like
gaming tonight.
mentioned, right?
Yeah, but so I
I'm just
assume
gonna
it's going to be a
quickly
pretty
send
big
a
figure, and I just
selfie.
really don't know what they're going to do with this
I'm
whole
filming
Jonathan
the
Majors thing.
reaction video.
I don't know, because they keep using his iconography.
Yeah, and so because I assume this was filmed like a while ago, before the
Probably.
whole thing.
Apparently, though, they did everything. All of their they didn't have to refilm anything. They only used like the
Really?
original takes for everything. That's what I saw. Yeah.
Well, that might be better. So like, I think there might just if they do use him in a larger context, they might just need a recast. and that might
Yeah.
be the best option.
It'd
But
be
I
so hard
just
to
like
recast him though. He's already in literally
just- I'm-
everything.
I'll see that Loki's probably enjoyable, but I just don't know where this would lead. I'm saying where the future of the MCU is leading right now.
I feel like
I guess
Uri
yeah,
is
I
just
don't really
dumb
know
at this point. It's like
But-
it doesn't need to connect to
Because
the
we'll have to
other
wait and
stuff
see.
in the
I
MCU.
guess
it can
that
just
is the
be a
ultimate
good
lesson of
show.
everything. Wait and see.
Yeah, I'll keep talking about it for as
Yeah,
episodes.
I'll
come
get
out.
a-
I want. It's probably gonna just be 6 episodes like last time.
Yeah. Which I mean, that's been like the Marvel method, you know?
Yeah.
6 episodes.
Mhm.
WandaVision had like 9.
That's true, but that was their first show.
Yeah. Yeah. Miss Marvel. Okay, I wonder how many.
Was that?
Miss Marvel, I think that was like 6 or something, maybe 8. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch
There's-
it.
Surprisingly, I think I watched every single MCU show except for now, which I probably will by the time
Yeah.
next week. But
This is the first Marvel thing I've seen since the Christmas special.
I'm surprised you didn't
Wow.
see Guardians 3.
The only things I've seen since Endgame were WandaVision, Loki, What If, Falcon Winter Soldier, Spider-Man,
I
Christmas
still
special.
need to watch
Which is
Guardians
like
3,
holding up
which is
this
like
many fingers is like that's a lot.
the
But also
one,
that's
like,
been in like the
good
past 3
thing
years, and they've released
that I
like
actually haven't
so much
watched. And I've watched a
content.
lot of bad
Yeah.
stuff.
I
But I still
am
haven't
missing
watched
a lot
Guardians
of stuff,
3,
and
which I
I
still
will
really
go back
want
and
to.
rewatch it because as sloggy and
you
corporate
don't, you don't
and
need to watch Quantumania.
turning it, I'll still watch it. I like Paul Rudd a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I would.
That one
I
was like
do
such a
not
weird
watch
movie.
Quantumania.
You know?
It
I watched.
fucking
I mean, I read the plot on
sucks.
Wikipedia. It looked pretty bad.
It is bad.
Yeah.
It's not even, like,
but
fun,
It kind of gets me
ironically,
reminding, like,
most of
what
the
I'm thinking of,
time.
like, where all this is kind of leading to. I'm thinking about, like, now a Rick and Morty season 7. What does
Yeah.
a Rick and Morty season 7
Of
mean
course,
now
Uri
after
brings it
everything
back
has
to
happened?
Rick and
'Cause I read,
Morty.
like, an article about, like, you know, Dan Harmon, like, he talked about, like, splitting away from Justin Roiland. And so, arguably, I think this might be the season that has everything to prove in a Rick and Morty season. Now that it
Yeah.
has
It
separated
is. Yeah,
from
I think
this
Uri actually is
integral
right
part.
on this.
Because we're seeing, we had like the heyday of Rick and Morty, season 1 to 3,
2,
or
3, yeah.
2 and 3, and then we had kind of like a lull season in season 4 and 5
4 and 5.
with like a few good here and there, and then
yeah, like Vat of Acid or something like
and then
that.
we had a season 6 which will really start a solid season,
People
and we're
really
seeing that was
fucking
really
like
good.
Vat of
But then,
Acid.
bam, the
For
Justin
me, like,
Roiland
Vat of
thing happened,
Acid,
which is
it's a
felt
good
kind of
episode. Yeah, very
hindering,
much.
I'm gonna say,
But like,
but
it just pisses
if-
me off
if they are
because Vat
able
of
to
Acid
pull off a season
won like
7 now,
Emmy for like
I feel like
best
they could take this
animated
stretch
TV
all the way up
episode,
into the end of the
beating
10-season
BoJack
run.
Horseman, View from
And then
halfway down,
I feel like that's
which
just
is
kind
might
of
be
a
the
natural
dumbest
stopping
decision
point,
I've
maybe.
ever seen made in
Yeah.
an award show.
I mean, I don't.
It's
Well, they
fucking
said they're
crazy.
gonna do it for 100 years, so I don't know.
Because like, you know, after season 3 they got the 70 order run. So I feel like maybe that's the natural conclusion, but
I'm sure they have something planned out for like season 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
They have to have some groundwork. Like this is the main plot beats that's gonna happen here. They
yeah,
have to have it planned out. There's no way they
Yeah.
don't.
because
I completely forgot. Are they talking about Rick and Morty?
8 by now, and maybe working on 9,
Mhm. Maybe.
or I think 8 might be an animation or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Oh yeah, the
no,
anime.
because like now we're seeing
I don't know if
like
that's gonna actually
a
follow the
new
plot.
version of Rick and Morty, which I think.
But it
'cause,
seems
no,
so weird to
it
do
said
a
in the article,
spin-off for
They
it.
had like a really big
Like a
falling
Rick and
out.
Morty
that
anime,
basically,
like,
'cause
I
season
get
1
that you
was
want to
kinda like
maybe
the
try
baby,
out the
season
anime
2
style, but
Dan
like,
brought some new
what are
writers
you
in,
gonna do
Yeah,
with
like
it
more
that
like
you
an
can't just do in a
official show,
regular season?
and then like they felt like isolated between the two, and then he basically has stopped. Justin stopped writing on the show after season 2.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
did the voices and kind of became a sword to work with. And
Mhm.
then after this thing, they've totally been, their friendship has like decimated. I haven't talked to since 2019, I think.
Oh wow.
And so what does this season need to prove? And so arguably, I think I'm just thinking about like both of these, like they're not clear parallel, but I'm thinking of like Rick and Morty and Loki, like
Yeah.
what is all leading to? But I guess the question is wait and see.
Yeah. So what was the other show you rewatched? It's back to you.
Okay, this actually has kind of like a tour. So
A tour. Ooh.
they're in the same universe. So I
Okay.
rewatched The Boys season 3, and I
Oh
watched
yeah.
the Gen V, and so I'll
The
have
new episode, yeah.
yeah, I'll watch I'll
Boy
do a little
season
discussion. I'll
3,
do
it has
so here
Soldier
because
Boy in it, and like
Nicola, because
Soldier
you're not
Boy
gonna
is
see
like
the show, I
one of the
assume Gen V.
funniest
Yeah.
characters in that
I
entire
probably
show.
Yeah, so I'll explain what actually happens in the first 2 episodes of the new season
Yeah.
of Gen V. So essentially,
Okay.
Gen V, college for superheroes in the same universe.
I'm gonna
And
correct
so
him
we
on a
follow
lot
like
of
a
this.
group of college students. Their powers are
College
kind of
freshmen,
more interesting, like the basic
I
superpowers. You
think.
got the blood
I
girl,
think there is a difference
tiny
between
girl,
like
There's a
tiny,
yeah.
tiny hugging dick girl, who actually can actually not like Ant-Man. She can turn big
yeah,
too.
you just
Oh, really?
Yeah, to make small,
Does she?
she
Does
purges.
she have to?
She has to eat food to become big.
Oh, just eat food normally.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's good. She doesn't have to like throw up. She doesn't have to eat her vomit.
That'd be fucking
Wait,
disgusting.
wait. Is it every time she eats food, or she can eat food and then choose
Yeah, I feel
to?
she has to eat a lot of food or something.
Okay.
Because when she was doing it, she was like throwing down spaghetti. And,
Okay.
And so it's like very happy, very so like she was main character Marie. She has her blood superpowers, and she's really happy to be at the college. She wants to be the first black woman into the Seven, which is like the Justice League of this universe. It's what
Very cool.
in the boys, the Seven is what our main team is. We have like the Homelander, and like the kind of like a Justice League parody.
Yeah,
And that's kind of
yeah.
those are kind of like not because
I still
some of the
don't
characters
remember
are
if Aiden's
good.
actually
Those are kind of
seen
like
The
the
Boys or
main
not.
villains of the boys, the Seven,
assuming
but
he
specifically the Homelander character. He's
Yeah.
the main because even
Aiden's gotta
obviously you
know
know
who
who
Homelander
Homelander
is.
is. That's
Of course,
he's
yeah.
reached meme popularity higher and higher.
Yeah.
But
He's gonna be in Mortal Kombat, which is gonna be so
so
hype.
yeah, so we seeing so in the first 3 episodes they're called Godolkin University, and this is
Interesting.
because the comics are the comics are really different. This adaptation is very loose, and the comics are really different, but in kind of a better way because the TV shows are better than the comics. I would say,
I've heard this
Yeah.
from a lot of places.
yeah, and so.
Yeah,
In
bro.
the
I watched
comic
the
book,
video on like the
Godolkin
different,
University is more of a
how bad the
X-Men
comics
parody.
are. Like if you
Yeah.
see about it, it's
it's the
crazy how much they actually changed for
The
the show.
fuck?
Oh yeah.
What did this do?
Wait, did it do another effect? Oh, I didn't
For
see
the
it.
audio listener, balloons popped up when I motioned my hand. So, no.
But
I
what
get
kind
sucked.
of video like
That's crazy.
softwares are you using?
Okay, so it was an X-Men parody. Is it
Yeah.
something different now?
It's more of like just like college for superheroes like in this universe, and
Yeah.
in the comics it was like the main guy who led the team was Godolkin. He was like a pedophile. It was a bit darker and
He
weirder.
is
In
not
the
a
show,
pedophile in this show.
our leader,
I believe.
Okay, so I'll explain. In the first episode, we see this team. It's like we get like like the popular guy whose name is
Yeah.
Golden Boy, and he's like so hot. He has like a flaming. He's like the Human Torch. He's so
Yeah.
sexy. He has a girlfriend whose power is she like by human touch she can make anyone do anything she wants. She says,
Yeah.
"Oh, go
Very
there,"
powerful.
and they'll go there. And so that's why she
Yeah.
wears gloves, kind of like a Rogue parody or something.
I see. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's actually a good
So
example
that's her
you
thing.
brought up.
And
I
we
did
have
not
like
see the road connection there, but
a character whose power is like they can switch gender, but each gender has like different has different
You talked
superpowers.
about this last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have different superpowers though.
Mm-hmm.
But then it turns out our main guy, Golden Boy, he has a brother who they're keeping in like a superhero lab, like under
In
the
the
school or
woods.
something, and
Wow.
and so. So our main character Murray with the blood powers. Or there's also a guy called one of the other like popular guys. He's kind of like a Magneto kind of character. He can control metal, and his dad was like a really popular superhero called Polarity, and so the first episode is like, oh, you're a chill, they're becoming friends, and then like Golden Boy starts like getting like visions, and then he starts freaking out, and then he goes to like the head of the school. And then Marie, who goes to meet him about something else, she finds him, and then Golden Boy has killed the head of the school.
Ooh,
And then he runs out and
yeah.
she fights against him, but not really because it's the bigender person who fights against him.
Okay.
And then because the Magneto guy and him are best friends, and then he manages to stop him and they hug, but then he's like, "I'm sorry," and then he goes up into the sky, Golden Boy, and
Uh-huh.
kills himself. And
Does
then
he
Kills
that's
himself?
yeah.
just blows himself up
Oh,
using
with
his
his
own
friend?
powers?
No, he walked away and said, "I'm sorry," and then
Oh.
like goes into the sky and kills himself.
Oh wow.
And then they call it like a murder suicide because he killed the head of the
Yeah.
school and himself.
Yeah.
And then he's like bashed in the media. And then like Marie's like praised for saving him, and
Mhm.
for fighting him. And then because they do this thing where it's like a parody of
Yeah,
like
Marie gets a
college
ton of
athletes because
stolen
they have
power.
rankings in the school.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, and now she got up to number 5, and like no, they kind of lowered the ranking of the bi-gender superhero who actually fought Golden Boy,
Okay.
because bi-gender doesn't really play well in Jacksonville, you know.
That's crazy.
And so that's like and then there's this new like the roommate character who can shrink. No, she's having her own like kind of crises because she has like because it's a metaphor for bulimia, you know, because she has to
Yeah. Yeah.
put it down. And
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of metaphors because like in order to get her superpowers, you know, the girl has to kind of cut herself into
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
metaphor for cutting yourself.
Oh,
Oh.
I get it. And then
Yeah.
is the
That's a
The
great
suicide
example.
metaphor for suicide.
is the non-binary character or whatever, is she a reference to being non-binary or
Yeah, trans issues, you can kind of clump it, but
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, and
gender
so
fluid,
they're doing
basically.
that, and so they kind of like the Magneto kid who's trying to figure out what's happening, and then he figure out there's like the wood, like the thing they called the lab downstairs where they're training all the superheroes, the woods
Yeah.
for some reason, or like there's a mystery with
No,
the
no,
woods or
No,
something.
no, no. Or it's
And
because they had paintings
Luke's
of
brother,
woods
the
on the
Golden Boy
walls.
brother, he's kind of like crazy, and he's a very strong superhero. They call him
Mhm.
Soups in this universe, and
Okay.
so he's very
What's his
power.
power?
He's just really strong and can jump, I guess.
No, he has like
Okay.
so many. Like, he had like the
So
weird
they're figuring it
mind,
out at the end
sending
of
it to
episode
his
3.
brother. He has so
The
many
tiny
different
girl
random powers, and they never
is
explain all
sent
of
by
them.
the Magneto kid to send out to go get the brother, and then
Yeah.
but then the guards come in, and then she's like, oh fuck, and then she kills the guard by going through his head,
Uh-huh.
and then the end of the episode she's like coming out of his ear bloody, and then oh fuck, and then
He
that's the end
jumped
of the
ahead
first 3
so
episodes
much by
because
this
Amazon
entire
does this thing
recap.
with the boys, which
Like,
I kind of like.
heavily
It releases the
explained
first 3
episode
episodes,
1,
and then the rest of the
and
5
just
is
jump
weekly.
to the end
so
episode
you get to
3.
invested, and then weekly. I did that
Mhm.
with the second and third season of The Boys.
Didn't they only release 2 episodes last week though?
It was 3.
Oh, it was 3. Okay. Oh, you just didn't watch them.
Yeah. I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I did watch because I don't want to say because of Nicola. So
So
I
you're
just
not.
want to explain before I get to episode 4.
Okay.
And so then that's the end of episode 4. Episode 4, the little girl and the brother managed to escape. And so they're trying to figure out that, and then the main group, they figure out they need to find the little girl and the brother, and that's a thing. And they try to figure where he went. And there's this one moment in the episode where like the main character goes to a psychic whose power is like psychic, and she wants, help me find my friend because you're a psychic, right, or something.
Yeah.
And so he does that, and then she flashes out and she wakes up kind of unconscious, and he's like in a robe about to have sex with her unconscious because he roofied her with his powers.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then
Yeah, Soups are
but
like
then she's
so
like
messed
because
up
her
in
powers
this-
are blood, and then his dick
in
starts
these
kind of
shows.
like ballooning with blood, and she doesn't really know what's going on. And then
But I
the
love
dick
how
pops.
confused Aiden is.
Oh.
He just
And that was
never
really gross, seeing
seen
his
either of
dick
these
pop.
shows, so he doesn't has
Yeah.
no idea what
And
to
so-
expect.
Was this one a real penis also? Like the
I think it was a
episode?
prosthetic dick. I think it might have been
Oh
a
wow.
yeah.
That's That's pretty gross. They're really committed to this bit.
No, because in the beginning of season
Um,
3, there is a guy, a little Ant-Man guy, who goes inside a dick, and then the
I
dick.
did, yeah.
No,
That
this
was
might be
like
the
one of
most
the
NSW
funniest
show I think I've ever
jokes.
seen.
That's
But
incredible.
it is truly incredible. There's this episode season 3 that's just called Hero Gasm, and that's just like a superhero orgy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is
I
a
mean,
really
Harley Quinn
weird
had the same thing,
episode.
but
Yeah.
I assume
But-
less graphic.
Yeah, no, there was dicks and tits flying all over
Damn.
the place.
You
But
hate those.
yeah, I hate him. Anyway, there's this character called Tech Knight who's doing like a documentary series, and he's based off his counterpart character in the comics, who is called Tech Knight, and he's like a Batman, Iron Man parody. And in the
Okay.
comic, they do reference it. In the show, he's kind of more adapted to be more like a Sherlock's Holmes kind of guy, you know, like
Yeah.
you can tell your senses. But in the comic book, he's kind of like more. He has his own little story in the comic book where he's like,
Mhm.
he has an addiction to fucking holes, and he can't stop fucking holes, and
What the fuck?
and like
Yeah, this is gonna
like,
be
he
really
wants to fuck
confusing for
everything he
Aiden.
sees, and then it turns out he has a tumor in his brain, and
Oh, okay.
and so then he actually wanted to fuck his teenage sidekick, and that's why they expelled him from his the team, because he looked at his
Yeah.
sidekick's ass and was like, I gotta fuck it. His Alfred in the comic book.
Kid,
he
none of
tried
this
to
was in
fuck
the
his left
episode.
ear, and so that's why the butler
90%
left.
sure this is just
It's like,
stuff
You fucked
Uri
me in the ear, so I'm
had
leaving.
from reading in the comics.
Yeah.
They do
But
not
he doesn't do
explain
this
any
in
of
the
this
show?
info in the actual episode.
I'll get to that.
Oh no.
And so in the comic book, his character ends with like he saves a mother and daughter from getting killed by a wheelbarrow, and then he sees an
Okay.
asteroid, and then he saves the planet by fucking
By
the
fucking the asteroid.
Yeah, by
Oh
fuck.
my god, no way.
But then it turns out he never actually did that, and then after saving the mother and daughter with the wheelbarrow, he actually just fell on his
Wow.
head and died, and that was like a last
Wow.
brain thing. In the show, it's
Interesting.
adapted to be more of a Sherlock Holmes like character, and I feel like it's good they place him in here, because in the main show, I don't feel like I could fit where he would be. But they
Yeah, that
kinda
guy
do it
would
pretty
not
well.
fit in the
And
main
in
show.
if you rewatch the episode, there's a lot of things where he mentions a lot of like, you know, kind of like when he gets a bagel, he kind of like circles the hole, or then
Okay.
instead of saying like you're because he make like. Cause like the Magneto kid, after Golden Boy
Mhm.
dies, he starts having sex with the old girlfriend of Golden Boy, and he says,
Yeah.
"So how long you been licking Golden Boy's girlfriend's hole?" And
Wow.
why would you say hole, not like pussy or something, you know?
Yeah.
And then he looks
I
at a
actually
tree
didn't
with,
notice
like,
that detail.
with
We're
a
actually
tree
pays
pussy,
close
no?
attention to these.
No, you know when you see it.
I know what you mean by tree pussy, but that's not what they're called. But I don't know what they're called, so we'll just keep calling them that.
And then he looks at it like give me 5 minutes. And so eventually he plans, because he wants to tell Vought, which is like the superhero company, like what happened with Golden Boy, and he plans to
Yeah.
blackmail the dean of the school. And he says,
Because he's a detective and he figured it out.
yeah, and
He
they
solved
also
the
say
crime.
like he's like every like all of his like suspects he brutally paralyzes, which I think is like a reference to how Batman really beats up his
Yeah.
all the people. And so
Okay,
yeah,
like I swear,
But-
90%
and so, like,
of the
he
stuff he's
plans to,
mentioning
like,
is not explained
to
in the
blame
show.
it on
All we
the
know is
dean,
just he's
'cause,
just a
like,
good
he doesn't wanna,
detective.
he shouldn't do it to like the top 5 of the school, because they're like they
Mhm.
might be earners for Vought later.
Yeah.
And so but then she goes all like, no, I'm not, you don't blame me. And then she brings up like a fucking video of like kind of like a 3-minute montage of him fucking different holes around the school,
Oh my
like a
God.
tree, a vacuum, the heat warmers in the bathrooms. So
Yeah.
him trying to do that, and he's like,
Oh god.
okay, you caught me. And so that's where his character ends for the show. Maybe we'll see him
That's.
again.
There's no way. Okay, if he dies in the, probably dies in the show in the same
Yeah,
dumbass
but-
way.
It's an enjoyable.
I actually don't think
show,
we're gonna
and,
see him back, but
'cause, guys,
He was a pretty
the only
funny
thing is,
character. I hope
feel
they
like
actually do bring him back.
I feel like this kind of needs to be maybe a 1-season show, because it doesn't feel like anything really more than kind of like a prelude to The Boys season 4.
Do you
And
think that just the character they're just gonna end it at season 1 and then just have the character in Gen V or not Gen
maybe
V?
I
I mean
could see
in the
that because
boys.
I really don't see like I feel like I don't know how much this show can go without referencing the bigger universe because like Homelander has done like big things in the show that I feel like has to ripple into the main story.
Yeah.
But and like the boys, which is like the non-super power, like the regular humans who are fighting against the superheroes. I feel like their
Yeah.
actions need to be kind of mentioned, and so I feel like they're setting up maybe actions on like teasing up stuff for the season. I feel like it's kind of like a prologue or something.
Okay. Do we know where Gen V takes place in like the timeline?
It
Like
takes
is it
place right now. There's 3 seasons, and it takes place after season 3, and
Okay.
so
Presumably
I
before
hadn't watched
season
season 3 in
4,
a
I
while
think.
because the last time it came, like the season 3 came out, like in the summer before 12th grade,
Okay.
and so I hadn't seen it. So I wanted to, I'll rewatch it, and it was a pretty tight season, pretty good season. Season
Yeah,
one,
that
I
was
still think was
before
the
the
best.
podcast,
Season
so
Yeah.
3 and then season
I
2.
did
And
watch
so
it,
we're
I
gonna see how
think, week
Gen
to
V
week.
ranks around that. But no, it was a good watch, a good rewatch because in that season they get this character, who's like a Captain America kind of
Soldier
parody, Soldier
Boy,
Boy.
crank
In
it.
season 2 they had like
Yeah.
like kind of maybe like I guess a Shazam. No, because in the comic book he's more of a Shazam parody. But in the show he's played by a girl called Stormfront, who turns out to
Yeah.
be a Nazi.
Oh my god.
That's
I
season
hate those
2, right?
guys.
Yeah, and so Homelander falls in love with her, but then
Yeah.
Nazi. And then the end of season 3 is a really, really compelling ending because like we've been teasing Homelander's gonna go crazy all, and then like because Homelander is kind of a stand-in for Trump and Superman if they were like one person or something.
Yeah, they've like.
Because
Okay.
then he
I
has
think
like a rally where
the
they're all
writers
like,
have
there's a sign that
confirmed
says
that.
God, guns, and Homelander, obviously.
Yeah.
And so then he's all like, but then there's like because like a Democrat or something, or like because like there's a character called Starlight in The Boys,
Yeah.
who's more like I guess liberal, and then she's like against Homelander and that team, and then like a guy who supports her like throws like a water bottle at Homelander's superhero son, and Homelander's had it. He lasers him in the head, and the crowd just goes silent until one guy's
Yeah.
all like, "Yeah, let's go," and then the entire crowd's all like, "Fuck yeah."
Is that the clip where he goes?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Is that okay?
And then he like smiles, and then yeah. And
Yeah.
so they're having out like it's a reference to how Trump said, I think I could shoot a person in the middle of Times Square. I would not lose a single voter. And
Yeah.
so we're
I
seeing
did
how
not
like,
know that's a
he's
real
being
quote
supported
from
by the
him.
public with his public murders, and so they led
Yeah.
to a really scary thing. But Homelander was always crazy. But what was really shocking was that the camera then switched to his son, who started smiling, and thus he's creating a new kind of like Homelander, and so
New
that's
crazy ass. Yeah.
yeah, and so
Yeah,
I
because like
rewatched
the
it, and it's
sun
like
was the
it
only
was a
chance
really
that they thought
tight,
that they could
good season
actually
of
beat
TV.
Homelander.
And
Mhm.
I'm enjoying. This is kind of Gen V is kind of like my fix for it now, but I don't know how much of how much can it really be important? Because that's
Yeah.
the spin-off problem. If it's not like a prequel, and it's like a current story, how does that really work?
Yeah.
I
I
think
get it.
they've been doing it pretty well
But
so
what I
far.
will be excited for when Invincible comes out.
Oh
And-
yeah.
Yeah, you should watch
I
that.
mean,
You haven't watched
it
it.
wasn't
I'll
taught.
watch
This,
Invincible
this
before
came
season
out
2
like
comes out. When
literally
is that?
today.
I
Is
think
they
November.
released the like official
Okay,
trailer
I
for
can
the
watch it by then.
season, and it looks really
But
good.
and so that's really all I have been watching. So you can take it away.
All right,
I
I have
think
3
we're gonna
more
be having
things. I'll
Aiden
gloss
for the
over
next
one of them,
45
and then
minutes.
The other ones I'm gonna clump together and talk about them. So the one that I watched, Some Like It Hot. It's like a '50s black and white movie.
They represented Futurama, I think, or something.
Maybe. So basically, it's these two guys. They they witnessed like the mob killing a bunch of people, and now the mob is after. Or
Is this black
the
and white?
gangsters. It's in black and white. Yeah, it's filmed in the '50s, but it takes place in the '30s, like during Prohibition.
Let me guess.
Um,
You had to watch it for your like film history class or something.
I did have to watch it for my film history
Oh,
class.
that's
I
cool.
also watched Shanghai Express for my film history class, but I watched it at 3 times speed, so I'm not gonna count it. But I did like Some Like It Hot. it was pretty funny. It's a comedy movie. It was very snowball or screwball comedy. You know like the phrase like this movie would never have been made today, right?
Yeah.
So this whole movie, the two main characters dress up as women to sneak into an all-girls band. This movie could not be made today.
It could not.
It's very like it's very
Maybe.
it's like
Yeah.
it's transphobic,
Yeah.
but like it was a fun movie. I don't like the main character of Joe. I think he's really annoying. The other character is way funnier.
Really.
I don't even,
all
I
my
don't even
homies
remember
hate
his
Joe.
like his regular guy name, but his like girl name is Daphne. He's just way funnier.
So what exactly happens in the movie? Just to recap.
They run away from the mob
Yeah.
by joining an
Yeah.
all-girls band
Okay.
dressed up as women, and then they go to Florida. They're like in the band or whatever, and they want to get with this one
Florida.
girl. Her name is Sugar. She's played by Marilyn Monroe.
Oh wait,
So
it's
there's a
that
little love
old?
triangle between Daphne and Josephine and Sugar, except Daphne gets pretty much sidelined almost immediately, and some
Oh,
other guy.
Wouldn't that mean
tries to
Sugar
hook
would
up
be
with
a lesbian if they're trying to be girls?
No, they don't. Well, she's not in love with them,
No.
Oh,
but I don't know.
No.
It's just
this
weird.
entire
And then
plot is
Joe,
not
like,
being
switches out of
very
his-
well
his,
explained.
like woman attire and pretends to be some rich guy, like the owner of the Shell gas station company, and pretends to be rich and pretends to own a yacht. And shenanigans happen. He gets with Sugar, and the mob finds them, and they run away from the mob, and they get on a yacht, and it's all happy.
They beat the mob. Easy
It was
dub.
funny.
I mean,
I don't really.
yeah, it's kind of weird because these old movies are just kind of like they're just in an insanely different world than we are right now.
Yeah, it feels weird, but like it was still a good movie. Still
Yeah.
fun.
No, I don't doubt it was a good movie, but
Yeah.
because I've been rewatching. I've been watching movies for my film history class. It's like so
Yeah.
weird seeing them in like black and white, and I've watched a few silent
fine with
movies.
black and white.
I'm fine with that, but it's so different than what we're used to now. It kind of makes you
Yeah.
kind of appreciate how we got to this point. And now,
A little bit, yeah.
yeah, but
Um.
some like it.
Yeah,
I
they
want
do say
I want a
it's-
remake with Logan Paul and Jake Paul as the guys who run from the mob.
I can't. Yeah, and have like Millie Bobby
That's a
Brown
funny
replace
idea.
Marilyn Monroe or something.
Yeah.
Okay, what else did I watch? Wes Anderson Roald Dahl short films.
Oh,
Was that the
I've heard of
wonderful
these.
story of Henry Sugar?
So there was 4 that he made. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, The Swan, Poison, and The Rat Catcher.
And they all released at once, or
They all released at once, yeah.
yeah, that's like a full movie. Or how long are they? 30 minutes.
Ratcatcher, Poison, and The Swan were all 17 minutes, and then Henry Sugar was like 50 minutes.
Oh, okay. And
So like an hour and 20 minutes to watch all 4 of them.
okay.
Now I definitely read Henry Sugar and The Swan. The Ratcatcher I like vaguely remembered after watching it. I was like, maybe I have. The Poison I never read. So I'll explain these because I think these are interesting.
Okay, explain them.
Okay, so The Poison. This has Benedict Cumberbatch in it as like the main. So a guy comes home, he sees his roommate. His roommate's like laying still in his bed. He's like, I don't remember what the snake is called, but it's like there's like a poisonous snake on me. It slid underneath the covers and is laying on my stomach right now. Called the doctor.
That's crazy.
And so it's just like a tense situation where it's like the snake is on his stomach, they can't wake it up or it's going to bite him and he's going to die. And most of it is carried by the Wes Anderson filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, the only Wes Anderson thing I've seen is Fantastic Mr. Fox, and that
I
was
have
like
not
10
seen a
years ago,
single
and I
Wes
don't remember it
Anderson
very well.
thing.
The only thing I've ever seen is like maybe like what's that movie he did with like the what was it the it was like one of his animated
Isle
ones.
of the Dogs.
Oh, the Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, I saw like the first hour of that in video production class, and I thought it was really good, but I just never finished it. I haven't seen any other Wes Anderson things other than that.
Yeah.
He sounds like a guy I'd really like to watch his films,
Oh
but
yeah, they were incredible to watch.
they
There was like so
sound
much effort put into it. But like the twist with the poison is that there's actually no snake on him. They like, just couldn't find one.
They
But-
spent 17 minutes for
And,
that.
but that one was cool. I mean, that one I think was my least favorite out of them.
okay.
And then the rat catcher is I don't really want to go into the plot of this, but it's like guy that catches rats goes to catch rats while explaining to like these two other characters like
Here's how you
rat
cat
stuff,
rats.
right? Yeah, and like I don't know if you've read Roald Dahl stuff, but you haven't.
No,
Okay, well, so Roald Dahl.
well, maybe I have.
When it,
I don't know.
when it's not like okay, so like James and the Giant Peach, Willy Wonka,
yeah,
BFG.
okay. Yeah,
Zelda.
okay. Yeah, that.
Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar, but Roald Dahl, he writes some fucked up shit.
Really?
Yeah. So in the Ratcatcher, near like the end, the Ratcatcher's like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill this mouse, and I'm not gonna use my hands, my legs. I'm not gonna really touch it at all." And so like he like bites its head off, right?
Wow.
Is it
That's fucking
animated or live
crazy.
action?
Live action. The thing with the rat though, there's in the Ratcatcher, he's like, "Here's a tin of poison that's gonna kill the rats. It's poisoned oats. Like if you ate one of these, you would fucking die." And like here's the point. And this is actually what they did. They just held their hands out like this. There was no tin. It was just like this. And whenever they pulled out rats, it was like, "Here, I have a rat in my pocket, and I also have a ferret." And they would just like do that. That one was really interesting to have like the invisible props.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I need
that
to
one was
see
really
how that
dramatic,
actually
and that one was
works.
cool.
It seems
Dramatic, really.
like it'd be different.
I mean, yeah. There was definitely during the tense moment where it's like, how is he gonna kill this rat without like using his hands or whatever?
Mm.
And
Why did
and
he
how
do
they-
that?
because it's fucked up. Because it's Roald Dahl. Sometimes he just likes to do that. So now we're gonna get to the Swan. In the book of like Henry Sugar and 9 other stories, the Swan is my favorite.
Really?
Because this is like it's fucked up.
Oh.
So basically, these two kids get a rifle or like a BB gun or whatever. Or no, it's like an actual, and they get it and they go shoot birds. And then they see this one kid, and the one kid's like looking at a woodpecker or whatever. And they kill the woodpecker, and he's like, "Guys, what the fuck?" And then they point
Guys,
the
maybe
gun
we
at him,
don't kill the animals.
and he's like, "Okay, I can't outrun them. I can't call for help, so I might as well just like go along with what I'm doing."
Yeah.
And one thing that's interesting that they
Time
do
we
in this
have
Wes
left on
Anderson
this.
one is there's a
We
narrator,
have
right? There's been a
41
narrator in all
minutes.
4 of
Got
these,
it.
where
Yeah.
the narrator's like is like an actual character within the story.
Oh, that's fun.
So like, yeah, so they can interact, like they kind of interact with the audience.
In like what
um,
ways? What do you mean?
I don't know, like they'll look at the camera and be like, they'll say a line of dialogue and then it's like, "I said,"
Oh.
or something.
Okay. That's,
They'll like, yeah,
that feels very
because
Wes
they're-
Anderson for some reason.
they're like they're in the movie.
Yeah.
They are characters in the movie, the narrator. And one thing that they do is that they don't really establish the narrator in the Swan as an actual character until after a little bit, when they say that the boy that's like being held at gunpoint by these 2 other kids is actually him. So he starts switching from saying the kid's name to saying, "I was in this situation."
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then, yeah, so they tie the kid to a railroad track, and they're like, "Ha, you're fucked. Better not get run over by a fucking train." And then he like digs himself underneath the train or whatever with like his head, just so he's like right low enough to do that. And they do some other shenanigans with him. They find a swan, and he's like, "Guys, don't fucking kill the swan, please. It's a swan. It could have babies. It's like a fucking swan. Don't kill it." And then they kill the swan. And then they make him swim over to it. They make him swim over to it and bring the body back. They cut its wings off, strap it to
Wait,
him,
I'm actually kind of
have him
engaged
climb
now.
a tree, and they're like, "Okay, fucking jump,
Oh, this is fucking dark.
jump
Wow.
out of the tree with the swan's wings that are
Wow.
bloody tied to your arm," and they start shooting at him for him to jump. And
This is fucked up. This is-
yeah, and then after he jumps, he like flies around for a little bit, or like it like they say he flies around for a little bit,
Yeah.
then lands in his front yard. His mom comes out and he's like, "What happened to you?"
I
And
I was forced to jump,
when
mama.
like when they announced that they were making these,
Yeah.
like I know what happened in the Swan. I was like, it's like it's a crazy story. I wanted to know how they did it. It was really cool.
Okay. And
I'm not gonna explain what happened or
yeah.
like how they showed it, but it was really cool.
So he did it justice.
It did it justice.
And
And then
and
the
Henry
other one,
Sugar.
Henry Sugar. So that's
That's
like
the one with Benedict Cumberbatch, right?
he's also they reuse the actors from like all four of these. They just keep reusing them for each of these.
Oh.
So this one is about this rich guy, Henry Sugar. He's like super pretentious and stuff, and he finds a book that's like like man sees without his eyes, like a journalistic report from like Doctor whatever, right?
Oh, okay.
So then it stops being in Henry Sugar's also like the narrator in this one.
Oh. Oh, and
but
did he
it's
talk
going
like?
from-
So is he in the story
Yeah.
too? Okay.
Yeah, but he's like the narrator describing himself rather than it being like a third person, like I said, the narrator being is like Henry Sugar did this, and while he's doing that.
And are these narrations present in the book, or is this a Wes Anderson thing?
This is a Wes Anderson thing,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, that sounds.
If I'm remembering correctly, because I hadn't read them in a while, but I know they didn't do that with the Swan.
Oh,
That one wasn't first person.
okay.
But for Henry Sugar, he finds the book. Man can see without his eyes, or whatever. So then they do a little story within a story, or they do a story within the story where it's like, guy comes to the hospital. He's like, "Hey, can you bandage my head? I'm gonna go do a circus show tonight, and I can see without my eyes, and I just a doctor to bandage it because that's how you know it's gonna be good, how it's gonna be done well, the bandaging." And so he gets bandaged. He can see without his eyes. The doctor's like, "What the hell?" And one of the doctors goes to like the circus. They see him do all these cool tricks, and they're like, "That's crazy." And then he interviews him afterwards. And then there's a third story within the story within the story where it's the guy who can see without his eyes, his story of becoming to learn to see without his eyes.
Oh,
This is
kind of. That's
crazy.
interesting.
So, and then they tell that story, and then after they tell that story, it goes back to the second guy. He's like, "Okay, so now I know all this stuff. So I'm gonna take the other doctor to the place, and we're gonna watch it the next night." Turns out the guy who could see without his eyes is dead now. He died.
That's
Oh.
Like
a
after
rip.
being interviewed, which is a little interesting.
Okay.
But it took him also like 20 years to be able to see without his eyes. And like his master was like, "It's gonna take a long time. There's like 1 in 1 billion people that is gonna be able to learn it fast, but it's definitely not you." So Henry Sugar, he gets this book. He's like, "Wow, I'm gonna make so much fucking money with this,"
yeah.
I'm assuming
even though he's
like
like
the
already
bad
rich as
guy.
fuck.
And,
So he takes the book, he reads the book, he learns how to do the thing, and it takes him like a year to be able to like see without his eyes, but he can't do it like fast. He like gets it down to like he can focus in on like a candle flame in like a minute.
okay.
And then he keeps training after that to be able to see the backs of poker cards.
Oh.
And so it takes him another 2 years before he can see the back of a card and register what it is in 5 seconds.
Wow.
So it's taken him 3 years to learn this skill, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go make money." And then he made like $35,000
That's not a
in
lot,
like one night.
or is that
No,
a lot?
that is a lot.
Okay.
Okay. that's a lot.
$35,000
In a night.
in a night.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So then he does that, and he's like, "I don't feel anything. Like I feel terrible for doing that." Like he changes as a person after learning this skill, which is interesting. And they do a little thing where it's like, if this was a fake story, this would end now. Like he would see himself in the mirror, have a blood clot in his heart, and he would see it inching up towards his heart, and he would die. But that's not how it happened, because this isn't a fictional story. This is a real story that actually happened.
Yeah.
So
What?
then it switches. He's like a good guy now. He steals the money still, but he donates that. He like makes orphanages and like homeless shelters and stuff, like using this scamming technique, being able to see without his like through things, right?
Right.
And so he does eventually die at the end via like the way they told, like it said.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it ends. And one thing that's interesting is that they have a Roald Dahl stand-in in all 4 of these stories that sometimes it'll cut to him talking. So
Mm.
it was actually 4 stories in one. It was actually Roald Dahl, Henry Sugar, who told the story about the book, who told it in the book, and the guy with the head, like the can't see. And it was just really cool framing.
That sounds way too overcomplicated.
Who plays the
Little confused.
who plays Roald Dahl?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought that was not me, Henry Benedict Cumberbatch, but he plays the main.
No.
Henry
He plays
Sugar.
Henry Sugar.
Okay.
But I would watch these if you can.
I'll
Like,
try. Those
I
sound
might
really
actually
interesting.
watch some of them now. They seem like
watch
cool.
if you want to watch one of them, watch The Swan. I think just because that one was my favorite, that one was the coolest in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, Henry Sugar was actually cool, but like The Swan is my favorite story out of like that collection. So
Yeah. No, that's yeah.
Mhm.
So, what I want to ask is, so these like stories, they all kind of like fit into a larger narrative within each other, I guess.
no,
Or no? Okay.
they're all completely disconnected.
Okay, because like I know, because I thought the Roald Dahl narration thing meant that that they are okay.
No.
Okay.
No. It was just like a little thing they did. It was interesting. I don't really know what any of it means. That's like a Wes Anderson little funky little twist on it.
Yeah.
Like there's some things that like the invisible like props in the rat catcher, in the poison, the narrator character slowly over the course of the movie like gets a scar going down his head. Like you can see it forming and then
Fun.
it's like bleeding a little bit, has stitches and stuff. It's like I don't know what the point of doing that is, but it's like really interesting. And
Yeah.
I thought it was the actor for a little bit, but it's not like that's not what he looks like. That just like happened over the course of that one.
Yeah, no, Wes Anderson does a lot of interesting, intricate things because, like, he has like
Yeah.
in his movie called French Dispatch. He has like synchronized blinking in the movie.
That's weird.
And
That's
so no,
crazy.
everything's very kind of anal and minute about every detail, which I guess that's what you should do as a filmmaker. But
Yeah.
no, I could definitely see him bringing life to these kind of like short stories, you know.
Yeah, I mean the stories were messed up in their own right, and they're well written. I don't know. Well, Roald Dahl is a brilliant author.
Yeah.
But like having these projected into film.
Yeah.
I mean, like the tamer ones have been shown. Like I don't know if you've seen like The Witches or any of the Willy Wonka movies or
I've seen the
think
Willy
I've
Wonka
read-
movies.
BFG Matilda. I mean,
I think
Matilda's
I
still a little
read
messed up,
BFG,
but those
but
movies are all
I can't
BFG.
remember anything
Same
about it.
Same with like James and the Giant Peach. That one's like compared to the book, that one's really tame. The movie.
BFG,
But, like-
big fat gamer.
So true. But like to see these like messed up little short stories translated to screen in their like original form.
Is
I don't-
yeah. No, I definitely
Yeah.
see that. It's like you're getting these like little stories that you saw from childhood getting in the
Yeah.
big screen. It's like, it's like you don't really think these are the type of stories that get adaptions, but
No, because these ones are not popular at all.
yeah. But
Like compared to his other books, of course.
yeah, no, because like,
Like Willy Wonka's getting its 3rd adaptation.
and that's a prequel.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
And
But-
there's a sequel to Willy Wonka. There's a Great Glass Elevator sequel that hasn't
There
been
is?
adapted yet. Yeah, there's 2.
I know
What's it
Andy's
about?
talked about this before.
They go to space. The only thing I remember is that the grandparents get some like anti-aging cream and they become so young they get unborn. Like they could become like -20.
Okay, let me look it up. What is
It's called Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Let me go get. I have a couple Roald Dahl books. Let me see which ones I still have. I got rid of a couple.
So guys, in the meantime, let me tell you about the Great Glass Elevator. When the giant elevator picks up speed, Charlie, Willy Wonka, and the gang, whoever the gang are sent hurtling through space and time, visiting the world's first space hotel, battling the dread Vermicious Nids, and saving the world are only a few stops along this remarkable intergalactic
that's
joyride.
that's crazy. You go from
So
like
it turns
this
out the only
pretty cool
two
chocolate factory
Roald
plot
Dahl books I
line
have now are James
to
and the
now
Giant Peach
space
and Willy
aliens
Wonka.
with a giant flying
Both
elevator.
good books. The other ones I've read the Witches. I owned that one at some point. I had the other Willy Wonka book. The Twits I've also owned. That one was also a fun one. I think that I saw somewhere that one was getting adapted.
Really?
Which is an interesting one. It's just like one about asshole people who have like pet monkeys and they're just dicks to the monkeys, and then the monkeys totally pwn them. I don't know. I'm excited to see that one if that happens.
Yeah, it's kind of bringing the possibility of what child like stories I think could get like adapted would be good adaptations into stories.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I actually have a good one. I want to see a
I mean, this
Mr.
book series I
Lemonfell's
read, it was
library.
called like
I really
The
like that
Sisters
book.
Grimm.
I
And it
think
was
it'd be cool to see
the
if they try
fairy
to
tales,
do
and that was
kind of a
it
movie
wasn't
or
really like
show
a kind of
based
these
off
short
it.
stories, more like a 9-book kind of thing. I always thought would be a good adapted because it was like once upon it was kind of like once upon a time where it did like a twist on
Was it? It
fairy
wasn't
tale.
like it wasn't like Tale Dark and Grim, In a Glass Grimly, and
No.
whatever
It
it
was
wasn't
something
those?
else about
Okay,
like a fairy tale land or something. I don't know,
interesting.
but
Okay.
it had like 9 books. And I always remember I really liked those 9 books because like I read one of those books in like a day, and they were like 200 pages or something.
Yeah. Back when we actually liked to read.
Yeah, no, back before the school broke us, but
Mhm.
yeah. Well, I guess do we have anything left to say?
I do have 3 more movies to
Well,
to talk.
I thought
If-
I thought there was the thing and then the clump, and that was
No, there's one more clump. I'm sorry. I
no.
can leave it till next.
I'm enjoying
can-
this. Tell me more.
Okay. Okay. So the
Well,
last
this
thing
is
I
such a
watched.
long episode.
So on Disney Plus, they
Disney
released,
Plus.
They released the new Haunted Mansion movie. Are you familiar with the Haunted
I'm
Mansion?
familiar with how much it sucked. I heard it sucked.
no, but like the ride, are you familiar with?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was the new movie, so I was like, I'm gonna watch that. But first, I'm gonna watch the 2 other Haunted Mansion adaptations,
There's
and
3.
then watch the third one.
There's
There
other
are
adaptions.
3. There are 3, and yeah. So you know how they milked the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is their other ride.
What is
that they like to
movie
milk.
thing doing on movie from rides like? What Space Mountain? Is
It
that
is
one or something? That should have
happening
one.
so
No,
much.
okay.
It's weird.
I am making a plan to watch like the movies based on rides.
That
So
sounds
I'll
like
talk
a-
about.
He
talk
does
about them
follow
eventually.
through
That
next
sounds
week
like a
with
good
another
tier
one
list
of them.
video.
I'll make a tier list about it once I watch all of them.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go. So I'll explain the ride first, and then explain the movies, just so.
Okay,
Yeah,
let
like a
me
little gist.
immerse. I'm gonna immerse myself. You explain the ride.
All right. So imagine it's like a New Orleans old ass mansion building. I'm just gonna talk about the California one because that's the one I'm familiar with, and this is the one that most of the movies are based on. So there's this mansion, and you go inside. There's a big ass room, and there's no doors. There's no windows, and it
It's
begins
a really
stretching. There's
cool
these paintings
ride.
on the walls. They all look brilliant. There's a lady with an umbrella. There's a guy just like sitting there with a cigar. And then the walls start stretching. You don't know if it's stretching, you're moving up or moving down. It's just stretching, and the paintings are extending. And the guy with the cigarette sitting on like a bunch of lit TNT. The lady with the umbrella, she's standing on like a wire, and there's alligators below her. And there's the ghost host. The ghost host says, "You're in a room with no doors, no windows. There's no way out. But of course, there's always my way out." They cut the
Dun,
lights.
dun, dun.
You hear glass shattering, woman screaming, thunder, lightning. You look up, man hung himself. He has killed himself. That's the only way out of this haunted mansion. So then you get back in line for the ride. and there's a hallway. It has some paintings. There's lightning. When lightning strikes, they become scary. There's like a lady sitting on a couch, but when lightning strikes, it's a ferocious tiger lady, and she's really hot. And you're like, whoa! And then these two busts, they move they move while you walk
They
around. It's
move.
crazy. And then you get in your doom buggy and you go on the doom buggy and then you go and you go and you go and you see the endless hallway and a floating candelabra and there's doors with knockers. They keep knocking by themselves. There's a clock that struck 13. There's a breathing door. There's a greenhouse with a coffin in it. And then you move, you keep going. There's a knight armor and it tries to chop you, but it doesn't get you, but it tries and it doesn't get you. And then you go into the ballroom scene, the big old decorative ballroom, right? There's some paintings of ghosts. They're shooting at each other. There's a bunch of people dancing on the dance floor, a piano player, a bunch of people eating, having a good time, some swinging off the chandeliers, the most intricate of one of all the sets. Then you go up into the attic. You see paintings of a wife and her husbands. Each time you pass by by the paintings, their head, it disappears. But the lady's still there, and you see axes and things. Her name is Constance Hatchaway. You see her in the corner, and she's like, "I'm gonna fucking cut your head off like all my other husbands." And I also forgot about a scene, so let's go step back. Before the ballroom scene, before you leave like the endless hallway area, the first area, there's a scene with a gypsy, and she's in a crystal ball. Her name is Madame Leota, and she's like, ghost, if you want to be seen, do a shake on my tambourine. And there's a floating tambourine. He comes in and shakes it, shakes it, shakes it, shakes it.
This is a really good recap.
Let's go back to Constance Hatchaway. So she's been killing her 5 previous husbands, and she's about to kill you, and you fall out the window backwards. You see the box ghost right before you fall out the window into the graveyard, and you see a gravedigger and his dog, and you go into the graveyard, and there's a bunch of ghosts. They're partying, they're having a great time, singing a great song, they're all partying. There's like a bunch of busts, they're all singing the song together, and they're like partying, and then you see some ghosts, and they're hitchhiking, they're holding out their fingers, and then you go and you see them. They're in your cart with you. Oh my God, look in the mirror. They're right there with you in the cart. And then you get off your cart and you leave. And Madame Leota, there's a little Leota, and she said, hurry back. Hurry back.
I will.
Oh, yeah. So that's the ride, basically. None of the movies had all of these things.
Wow, I was so immersed in that.
Yeah. So let's talk about
really
the first
felt
one,
like
the
you were there.
2003 Eddie Murphy movie.
Oh, Eddie.
Eddie Murphy. So he's like a real estate salesman, right? And his family gets called to the mansion, and they're like, "Hey, we're here to sell your house for you." And then the butler's like, "Oh, that's crazy, bro. Here's Master Gracie." And Gracie's like the name, like the family. He's like part of the family that owns the mansion, like the original, original Disneyland mansion. Also, none of the mansions look like the actual mansion up until the newest movie.
Okay.
They're all kind of just like mishmashes of different versions of the mansion. And this one does take place in Louisiana, which is good. They barely pay any mention to it except for like a license plate that says Louisiana.
Louisiana is that big part of the ride?
The mansion is in Louisiana.
Okay.
Like that's where it takes place lore-wise.
Right. Righto.
So they're in the mansion. They're like, uh-oh, it's flooded around the mansion, so you can't go home. And now they're in the mansion. And the wife gets taken by the guy because, like, she's the embodiment of, like, this one girl of, like, Gracie's, like, great Gracie's whatever girlfriend, and she killed herself, and then he hung himself. This is the only movie that has the ghost host hang themselves in.
You gotta get that ghost hanging. Gotta get that ghost hanging.
That's like the main part of the ride, is that he hangs himself. That's the only way out. They do say they all do say there's my way out. They do say that like 3 times in the movie, so that's pretty fun.
My way out.
Yeah, and then he hangs himself. But they say that 3 times in the movie. The movie was kind of funny.
Okay.
The acting wasn't like the best. Constance Hatchaway just isn't in the movie at all. despite her being like an important part of the ride.
In
The
any of the
ballroom
movies?
scene, she is, yeah. The
Okay.
ballroom scene doesn't really exist in this one. It kind of just gets shoved outside. The dueling people kind of get shoved into the endless hallway for some reason. Madame Leota is pretty important in all three of these movies, but she's a ball, so she can't really do anything.
The ball.
She's a
She
ball.
ballin'.
It was fine. The 2003 movie.
Nothing to write home about.
No,
Yeah.
nothing to write home about. It was okay.
There's no way home in
Next-
that.
Yeah, no. The next movie is I don't remember when it came out, the exclusive to Disney Plus, Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Ooh, classic, best one.
No, I don't know. Maybe.
Nope. Most Wanted is
This one,
the
it's
only
pretty
answer
good.
for
Really?
best
It follows a
Muppets
lot.
movie.
This one, okay, so the Eddie Murphy one doesn't have the stretching room, despite that being like the most important part of the ride.
Right.
That one doesn't have the stretching room in the Eddie Murphy.
Does it have the
movie.
hanging ghost, the Muppet one?
No, it doesn't. He doesn't kill himself in that one. Very sad.
That makes sense. It is a Muppet movie.
But it does have like everything else. It has a stretching room. They go into the hallway with the paintings. They have the endless door room. They have the floating candelabra, which wasn't in the Eddie Murphy one. The floating candelabra. It has the breathing doors, the doors that knock by themselves. They have a whole ballroom scene. There's a scene that takes place in the ballroom that's enjoyable. They have Walter and Dumbledore, for whatever the old ass Muppets are called. They have them like riding around in a dune buggy, so like in like the actual ride seats for the movie, which is fun. They
Yeah.
have the hat. They have the hat box ghost in the Muppets one, which was missing from the 2003 one.
Okay.
Um,
And so when you watch these
Uh,
movies, like, do you start off with Eddie Murphy and then do the Muppet
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Okay.
yeah. And then they have Pepe Le Pew, so it's about Gonzo and Pepe Le Pew. Pepe gets like falls in love with Constance Hatchaway. She's actually in this movie.
Wow. Wait, what Kermit? What is Kermit?
They're all at like a Halloween party. They're pretty non-essential. It's about Gonzo's little
Okay, just
haunted
Gonzo.
mansion. Yeah, because he's doing like a challenge in the mansion where it's like survive the night and you like win whatever.
That's kind of a fun
Like the
adaptation.
fear challenge. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they used the thing like the Eddie Murphy one didn't really have like a you can't, but like this one was like a you have to like face your fears before you can leave, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's
That's
yeah.
a cool idea.
So it's like a whole arc about Gonzo facing his fears, which is way more interesting than the ghost is trying to hook up with my wife.
Oh, mama, I get it. She's a
That's what
sexy
happened
ass
in this.
ghost.
That's what happened in the Eddie Murphy one, and it kind of sucked.
Yeah, no, that sounds par for the course for a bunch of Eddie Murphy movies.
But the Muppets one, very enjoyable. One thing they have, which was interesting, they jump out the window in that one from the Constance Hatchaway scene, just like you do in the ride,
That's,
which
that's
I
unique.
thought was pretty cool.
No, that does sound pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah, like Constance is like the kind of antagonist in that one. Like she's not like the most important, but that's what Pepe's doing for like most of it.
Pepe.
Pepe is like gonna get married to her, and she's gonna kill him.
Unique.
But
That's pretty cool.
It was good to see Constance in the movie, and they had like Madame Leota, and they had all the important stuff in that movie, except for the guy hanging himself. Someone pretty good.
Okay, and have you seen the last one?
I did see the last one, yeah.
And I heard it was.
It was good. It was good.
It was good. I heard it was really bad.
It was good.
I heard.
No, it was good. I think it was the funniest out of the three, despite one of them
Really?
being a Muppet movie. I did, because I really laughed at that one.
Really, it was
Yeah.
okay. Well, okay. Give us your justification why it was good.
Okay, so I mean, not all of it was good.
Okay.
It takes like a while before they actually get into the mansion.
Okay.
Like they actually get so there's this guy, his name is Ben. His wife is dead. He's sad because his wife is dead. And this priest comes in. It's Owen Wilson. I saw two things with Owen
I
Wilson.
like
this
him
week.
in Loki.
So Owen Wilson's like, "Hey, bro, I'm a priest. this girl called me. She's like, hey, there's a mansion and it's spooky, and she just moved in and it's
Some would
spooky,
say
and
a
I'm a priest, but I
haunted
don't think an
mansion.
exorcism could help. And your wife believed in ghosts, and you have a ghost camera, I heard. He's like, don't talk about the ghost camera. I made that with my wife. Dead. Ugh.
Hmm.
And it's like, but
Ghost cam.
wow. And then he can't find the batteries to the ghost camera, but he goes to the lady's house anyways. And she's like, hey, if you step in, your life is gonna change forever. He's like, okay. And he goes in. He doesn't see any ghosts or anything. He's like taking fake photos or whatever. He's like, okay, so no ghosts. Your guys are just freaking out. And she's like, okay. Um, and so he goes home, and then he's haunted by a ghost that's like, come back to the mansion. So then he has to eventually go back to the mansion because he's like getting haunted by this
Yeah.
ghost. The mansion in this movie does look like the California mansion.
Oh, it does. Okay, that's cool.
It does. It does actually look like the ride, which is cool. And this movie actually has the pet cemetery from the queue.
Fun.
Oh, I saw
So
that.
that
I
was
remember
one
that.
thing that they added that the other two didn't, was like the actual like queue stuff. So they're all in the mansion. Owen Wilson, he went to the mansion earlier, so he's stuck in there, and he's a priest. Owen Wilson as a priest is pretty funny.
Really?
Yeah.
He's like, guys, can we
Yeah,
get
that
an
sounds
amen?
pretty funny.
Did he say wow?
He's like, God, we don't need this. Why'd you do this, God?
Does
but
he
they
say
get,
wow?
they,
Does he say wow? The Owen
he
Wilson.
doesn't say wow. He doesn't say wow.
Ah.
But they get two
And
two other people.
Who does
Huh?
Jared Leto play in the movie?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Jared Leto is in the movie. But they get two other people because they're like, okay, we got to get rid of the ghost, right? So they get Danny DeVito, old teacher guy, and they steal like his plans or like his like research for the hotel from the mansion.
You
And
get an
Danny's like,
amen.
yeah. And Danny DeVito, he's like, hey, can I come to the mansion? They're like, sure, that'd be great. He's like, yeah, I'm getting my heart surgery done next week.
Oh,
So I'm going to do this beforehand. They're like, no, don't come with us. Don't do that. Don't come into the hotel with us if
But
you have
he
heart
does,
surgery.
obviously.
He does eventually sneak in there. They also get like a psychic lady. Her name's Harriet, and she can talk to ghosts or whatever. So she comes to the hotel or the mansion. They're all in the mansion together or whatever. And they're like, okay, so there's this guy named William Gracie. So they use the name Gracie again for the movie. Except he actually owned the mansion this time.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, this guy Gracie, his like, what happened? Oh yeah, his wife died, and he like had Madame Leota try to like summon her spirit, but every time he did it, it brought in more and more ghosts, and now there's 999 ghosts.
Wow,
they
ghost.
could not have
this-
brought back
There's
all
this
the
one
ghosts.
ghost that they accidentally summoned. It's the Hatbox Ghost. That's Jared Leto. He plays the Hatbox Ghost.
And is
Oh, I
he
forgot
scary?
Jared Leto's in this
A
movie.
little bit.
Oh, okay.
But he's the main villain in this movie, which is interesting.
Why is the Hatbox not usually the main villain? Or
So the Hatbox is kind of like in the ride. He's like right before you go out the window. He's kind of standing there with his Hatbox. His head goes from his head into the Hatbox. That's like his whole gimmick, and that's all he does in the ride.
does the Hatbox have the word damage on his forehead?
It doesn't have the no, it does not have the word damage on it. He did morb a little bit in the movie.
He
No.
morbed in the movie? That's cool.
He did morb in the movie. But they kind of juggle a lot of plot lines in the movie and a lot of. So there's one scene with Harriet that's nice. They're like, yeah, my dad really liked like model trains, but then when he passed away, whenever I'm having the lowest days, sometimes I'll hear a faint train noise in the distance, right? And that's like a little ghost wink that my dad's giving me. So there's like a little
Ghost
emotional
dad.
moment there. Yeah. Some other emotional things. Travis, the like son of the mom. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm getting bullied and no one likes me. That's crazy. And it's because I haven't seen my dad in a long time, and that's why. He's like, wow, that's crazy. It's like, I mean, I talked to him, but like, I don't want my mom to be really
But
sad,
he's being
right?
bullied because he doesn't have a dad?
No, he's bullied because he has no friends, but this started after he stopped seeing his dad.
No, okay.
Mm.
That's pretty weird bullying.
Yeah.
You don't have
And
a
he, like-
father.
Like tells like Ben or whatever, the main character, and he's like, "Yeah, don't tell my mom I've been talking to him because she would hate that. She wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
She'd be sad or whatever." Um, what else happens in the movie? There's a scene where, well, like, so Jared Leto, Hatbox Ghost, needs one more soul to like be all powerful or whatever, right?
Obviously.
Yo.
And cause um because the main character Ben has so much grief with like his wife or whatever, he's like the main suspect. And so there's a scene where he's like, yeah, he like it's like he breaks down. He's like, my wife,
My
she
wife.
I loved her so much.
My wife.
She died in a car accident. It's so sad. She went to Baskin Robbins. She loved Baskin Robbins. Oh, yo, Baskin Robbins plug right here.
Wow.
Oh, she loved Baskin Robbins.
She loved
She ate
it.
lots of tater tots. She loved tater tots.
You
And it was just like they're just trying to have an emotional moment, and
It's like in Sonic when they kept doing Olive Garden the first one.
Oh
It's like,
yeah.
okay, no, but
I
that one's
remember
funny
that.
because
Like,
they
they gave
didn't
him
do
the
it
gift
during
card
like
at the
the
end.
emotional
It
moment.
was so
she loved
obvious.
Baskin Robbins. She loved the
Yeah.
she loved 31 flavors. She loved the two.
Like there's a scene when they try to summon Madame Leota or whatever, and they're like, listen, if you can hear me, write on this pen and pad that I got from CVS. As they're like summoning a ghost, it's like, well, this is dumb. There's a lot of product placement that's really annoying in the movie, like at the worst times.
You can
Um,
get Pizza Hut's 2-for-1 deal.
And then that like the emotional scene with him crying about his wife ends with Danny DeVito. So like, oh, she must have been really fat, right? Because she like did ice cream and tater tots and shit. She must have had what was the cholesterol on that woman? And like that's how they end the emotional scene. And then they realize they have to go get like a possession of the Hatbox Ghost when he was alive, so that they can like summon him or kill him or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
happened in that movie. So they go to the Orlando one. Actually, they go to the Orlando mansion, and stuff happens
Orlando.
there, which is
Cool.
pretty cool.
Cool.
And
No. Yeah.
and then they get trapped in the stretching room. They do a stretching room scene. That's pretty cool.
No, that sounds awesome.
It was pretty cool. And then come back and they're like, hey, we got the hat that we needed. And then they're like, okay, kids, stay in the car because this might be dangerous. And
Makes
so
sense.
he stays in the car and he starts talking to his dad, who actually is dead. That was the twist with him. He was talking to his
Oh.
ghost dad.
Oh, like in The Sixth Sense.
Yeah. And so they go inside and they're like, hey, we're back with the hat. And also
He's dead.
Owen Wilson pretended to be a priest the whole time. He's
What?
not actually a priest.
Okay. I guess
No
that makes
way.
sense.
Yeah. I
That's
don't know why they
insane.
needed to do that, but they did do that.
And again, does that even mean anything? Is there any consequences?
No.
Okay.
But Danny DeVito actually had a heart attack, so he actually gets possessed by the Hatbox Ghost, and so Owen Wilson and him have a little tussle.
I've been doing this for the
and
last
things
2
happen
hours.
and such.
I'm not gonna be able to
And
pay
there's
attention.
a little emotional thing with Ben and the kid, where the kid is like, "But I want to talk to my dad." It's like, "That's not your dad. That's not Ghost. He's trying to trick you."
He's a ghost,
then-
boy.
And then he doesn't trick him, and then they send the Hatbox Ghost to hell.
Yeah, that's where Jared Leto belongs.
Yeah, in hell.
In
Which
hell.
also happens in the first movie with like the butler or whatever, the main villain. He also goes to hell. But that one was okay. That one didn't have anyone hanging themselves. This one didn't use Constance Hatchaway really at all. There's like one scene where they have her,
Yeah. But she's like a pretty big part of the ride, right?
yeah,
So
she's
th- Maybe like
Yeah.
they should get like one where she's like the main character.
she's not like the main character. She's just like a
bigger.
main just part of the ride. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. So this was more of like a quintessential adaptation of Haunted Mansion.
I would say the 2003 one is the best if you haven't seen the ride before.
Okay.
the best like standalone movie, but even then it was like kind of mid tier. The Muppets one is more if like you're a fan of the ride and you're a fan of the Muppets and you just want a little silly thing. That one's what that's for. If you want like the actual like if you've seen the Jungle Cruise adaptation,
Just,
it's
oh,
kind of closer on the level of the
Alright.
Jungle Cruise adaptation, the new
If
one.
you'd
With
like
The
to,
Rock,
since
right?
you've watched this
Yeah,
long into
Okay,
the
yeah.
reaction,
yeah.
It's
I'm gonna
it's
give you a
pretty
bit
on
of
the
a
level with
teaser.
that one. Where
Aiden
it
watched
still does its
Jungle
own thing, but
Cruise
stays true.
for next
Okay, Jungle
week's
Cruise doesn't have a
episode,
plot. It's just you going through a
so
fucking river,
get
and
ready to hear
the
about that.
skipper is like, "Guys, it's the backside of water. O2H, O2H." Like that's that ride. Like Haunted Mansion actually has some cool lore behind it, like
You
being connected
have
with
you been on these
pirates.
rides a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't quite remember these rides. Wait, so wait, I thought the Pirates of the Caribbean was movie what the ride was based on. I didn't know the ride was made first.
The ride, yeah, no, the ride was one of the one of the original rides at Disneyland, or one of the last ones that Walt oversaw, or something.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, and then the movies came from that ride.
Yeah. Are you? Yeah.
I mean, which has since changed since the movies came out to like
I mean,
adapt more.
there's so many.
Yeah, but like to adapt with the movies more, which is cool. And I think Jungle Cruise has done that. I haven't been on Jungle Cruise since that movie came out, and I'm gonna assume Haunted Mansion's gonna have something a little similar.
Yeah.
Mm.
You wanna
But
guess the
maybe not.
I
the
hope they add
Rotten
Owen
Tomato score
Wilson
of
to
Haunted
it.
Mansion?
That'd be fun.
Isn't it like 40 something?
It's 37.
Oh,
It's not 37. There's no way.
Okay,
Like
but
the movie's entertaining.
audience
not, like,
audience
shit.
score is way better.
What is audience score?
84.
Okay, I'd say maybe an 84, 84 or 79 ish. I don't know.
Yeah. No, but
But I
yeah.
don't-
Yeah.
I don't know. I think as a Haunted Mansion adaptation, the newest one is the best. But I think the Muppets one is just better overall.
Yeah. Not as faithful, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's still pretty. It's
Yeah.
still pretty faithful.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the 3 movies.
Yep. Now I'm done.
Now you are done, and I guess
I'm done now.
we are done as we're bordering these episodes, guys. These episodes are getting longer and longer, but we
I
just have
know.
more
I
things to say
100%
nowadays.
felt it this time.
But yeah, so
Hopefully this episode wasn't too boring with just 2 people.
yeah,
Oh.
or maybe it was a nice breather.
Well, don't worry.
We'll
You
get-
have the
next
reaction.
episode is just
You
gonna
have
be
my
Nick-
insane
Becca-
reactions, adding a third person to it.
Not gonna,
Nicola and
it's
Beck.
just Beckla. That's their ship name. It's them two. It's not gonna be that. We're not having.
It's gonna be
that.
It is
Becca.
not gonna be that.
It's gonna be
Becca.
Beck and Nicola. They're gonna just Nicola's just gonna play games and Beck's just gonna say Nicola, 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 Nicola.
It's true. It's true.
And
I did not yell at
that's
Nicola
that. I'm
at
sorry
all.
missing the
next
spice
episode.
of Nicola's racism.
Never at all.
And the Beck list. Well, though Aiden made up for it. In
I
his,
have a. I
He
have
made
He
up for
stole
it,
my fucking
so-
bit.
Yeah, let's Aiden. You wreck something.
How about we both wreck something?
Let's both do that.
You guys are.
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend the Wes Anderson Roald Dahl adaptations. Just all of them, all 4 of them.
I am going to wreck the movie Training Day. It's a good movie. Go watch it. It's with Denzel Washington. A crooked cop tries to turn a younger cop crooked. Drama.
Interesting.
So always use Celsius homeboys or homegirls and
Or home they thems.
yeah,
Or any
Yeah.
other.
any other homes. No way homes.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
That's true. Nicola, do you wanna?
Beck, you want to say something?
Yeah, no. I love the episode. Very engaged during the entire
Brilliant.
time.
Thanks,
Had some
Nicola.
deep
Always use
reactions.
Celsius, and thanks for listening.
Always Celsius. Alright, well that was my reaction to the one episode I missed. Hopefully I don't miss any other ones because it was so boring to have to sit through all of this. But hope you liked it. See you next time. Bye. Always use Celsius.